your windows. Lock your doors. Keep your loved ones near. Time is running out. It's here for fear.
Thanks for joining us. We're Ear for Fear, and this is Donovan.
And I'm Rick, and today we're going to be talking about 1981's Hell Night. 12 years ago, Raymond Garth murdered his wife and children, then he took his own life. But only 3 bodies were found. Now, in order to join the fraternity Alpha Sigma Rho and their sister sorority, 4 pledges must spend the night in the rundown Garth Manor. So today's episode is going to be a little different for us. Today we're going to have our first guest on our podcast, someone that we've known a long time, about 27 and a half years. So Donovan, when you first met him, you were a year and a half. So again, you young bastard. But this is a guy we hope to have on the show regularly. You would be hard pressed to find someone that knows as much about the horror genre and appreciates the horror genre as much as this gentleman. But we are introducing Mr. Monster Movie Man 13, and as we like to call him, Mr. Morris Hoylman. Welcome to the podcast.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good. Thanks for joining us.
Hey Donovan, hey Rick.
Hey, Morris.
Yeah, we finally got up and rolling here. So today we're talking about Hell Night, 1981. Linda Blair.
Love that movie.
Yeah. Donovan, what'd you think?
I did not like this movie. I think that's... You might be seeing a trend here. I'm not sure how to describe this movie. Slasher, right?
Yes.
Yeah, slasher movie.
I would say at the height of the slasher. 1981 was probably the height, right, Morris?
That was the golden year for the slasher movie.
Yeah.
You can definitely tell because it seems this movie is trope on trope on trope, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so let's talk about it a little bit. Morris, we invited you because you definitely know a lot about horror movies, and we know that I know that this is one of your favorite slasher movies. So
It is.
So we definitely wanted you here. Linda Blair. We love her from The Exorcist.
And you'll love her a lot more in this movie with her costume.
Yeah, she's pretty cute in this.
Yeah, I mean, she is cute. How old was she in The Exorcist?
13.
Oh, you knew that right off the bat.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just find it so weird. This happens a lot. I've noticed this as I've gotten older and I've grown up with certain actors. But when I look at Linda Blair, it's, she's like a generational difference for me. But the point still stands. She's 13 in The Exorcist, and then she does this movie how many years later?
What was it, 8 years? 8 years later?
This is 8 years later, yeah.
I always find it so strange to see like this, like Linda Blair, the sexualization of her costume in this movie just feels so weird to me because it almost feels like a product that's being sold to me. She doesn't get nude or anything, but the cleavage is like always there.
It's
and like in your face.
It is.
I don't think the camera ever leers on her body, but it's like always there, and I can't get this idea of like little baby Linda Blair, 13 years old, and being like going through such like torture circumstances, and then being like, oh yeah, check out her boobs, in this movie, 8 years later when she's apparently 21 in this movie.
But, 20... 21, 22.
21, yeah.
And I think the reason I bring this up is, are you guys familiar with Billie Eilish, the artist?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. People were just waiting until she turned 18 to like be okay sexualizing her.
Yeah, that's creepy.
And now I just can't get this out of my head when I'm watching something like Hell Night.
Yeah, she it's watching it again and seeing her there, it's scenes where she seems like she's a mature woman, and then I other scenes where it's like it's like I'm looking at The Exorcist. It's strange.
She definitely has a baby face.
She does. I guess that's a good thing. I mean,
But I think that could be said about just about any child actor that the public eye knows. Think about the Olsen twins. How many people were waiting for them to become 18? I remember, the media was. But, we're here to talk about Hell Night.
Yes, let's talk some Hell Night. So, look, Morrison, I love this movie. Donovan, you didn't like it.
No, I don't like it when a movie doesn't do anything interesting for me, and everything this movie does is so surface level. It also just might be my position at my age. I'm used to a different sort of horror movie than I think you guys are.
Yeah.
This movie's not scary. I don't find the movies creating any sort of tension for me. And I was also bored throughout most of the movie, and I kept looking at the Blu-ray player in the runtime.
Oh, jeez.
And then
not a good sign.
Yeah, and then I got to the point where I wanted to check the back of the box to see how long this movie was, because I remember that's something I used to do back in the day.
Yeah,
When I was watching like Harry Potter DVDs on like repeat when I was just a little boy in summer school or during the summer.
Yeah.
So I guess my question to you guys is what about this movie do you guys like so much?
For me, this was really, being that this is the golden age of the slasher film, and like you had mentioned earlier, the tropes that are established. Well, this was at the time where those tropes were being invented, or at least being explored more from, say, like the 30s and the 40s and so on. And nowadays it's so cliche, and I want to say that the public is very desensitized to this type of movie.
Yep.
There's many people that watch The Exorcist, one of my favorite movies of all time, and Halloween, and just are bored out of their gourd.
They are
when they watch these things.
And you nailed it. Desensitized, because there's so much access to everything right now.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to see this. Let me jump on my phone or my tablet or my computer and let me watch a YouTube video of this, which is probably more gruesome or gorier than any movie that we could show them.
But giving Donovan some credit, he understands film, and he understands that maybe a part of himself that most kids don't get.
Yeah.
Because he does has an appreciation for film.
I know that speaking of The Exorcist, we've had people watch this, whether it's maybe a niece or a nephew, and they almost think it's laughable or something. It's like, this is scary, and I'm like, well, yeah, this is scary. This is creepy. And all these different elements of it, and so it's like, I don't know, man. I just like we said, I think it's just the accessibility of everything, and they can watch anything they want whenever they want, and they just don't. I don't know if it's necessarily a non-appreciation, of these films.
Right.
I don't want to compare this movie in like the same sentence as The Exorcist.
No, we're not definitely trying to do that, because it's on a different level.
It is.
Completely. Yeah.
Because I rewatched The Exorcist not too long ago. I guess relative to how long I've been alive, it was a long time ago. Last time I watched that, I think, was like in 2012. So it's 7 years ago. No, 8 years ago now. I keep thinking it's 2019
God,
still.
Yeah.
And that movie does hold up. College kids still like The Exorcist.
Yeah.
A lot of parts in that movie, even the director's cut, is still like very, very freaky. Because the director's cut adds a face of Pazuzu, and that is the demon's name in The Exorcist. They don't actually mention it in the first movie, but because it's so freaking silly. But there's like this one Exorcist, and this is when I was a kid, and I was watching this for the first time with you. I think I was maybe like 13 or 14.
Yeah.
You went up to take a phone call, and you happened to freeze frame when Pazuzu shows up.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just black, and you see Pazuzu's face when she's like getting tested on.
Oh, yeah.
Dude,
yeah.
I couldn't stop thinking of that face forever. I still think about that face
That's awesome, though.
That's great.
See, that's a sign of a good movie.
Yeah, and also the spider. I guess I'm just talking about like director's cut stuff, but the spider walk. Whenever a human does something unnatural that they shouldn't be, shouldn't be doing, and she walks down those stairs so freaking fast.
Yeah,
and then blood comes out of her mouth. That's terrifying,
dude.
Also, just the Exorcist as just an exploration of a child going through some like horrible supernatural abuse is hard to stomach. Mm-hmm. Like The Exorcist works on many different levels. Hell Night doesn't. Hell Night is functioning purely as a slasher movie, and how much you like this movie depends on how into that sort of base level filmmaking you're going to get out of it, because it really is just two dudes going through a house, killing some teenagers. Well, young adults.
Yeah,
in this case, because they're all college students.
This is the epitome of there's many different slashers. There's the slashers where the kids go out into nature or go out to a place, or the horror comes to them. This is definitely kids going to kids in a haunted house.
Yeah.
And that's basically the setup. And the cool thing about this movie is that they went the gothic route. It has atmosphere that I love, and it adds that little specialness. Even though it's a cheap horror movie that was made on a dime, they wanted to classy it up a bit, and I think that's why they didn't do the nudity that most of the movies of their time did, and also the gore. There is gore, but there isn't extreme gore.
No, there's not.
You could tell that Tom Savini didn't work on this one.
No, there isn't. It's kind of tame.
It is pretty tame.
It's tame to some of the slasher standards. There isn't as much, and that's okay. It's fine. What I enjoyed about this was I loved the music, and I felt like there was a lot of in a sense kind of suspense. They built up this suspense that really worked for me. Some slashers don't do that. They get away from that. This one.
That's so funny that you're talking about building up a suspense. For me, it was building up my boredom. I felt like the scenes were going on too long. Quentin Tarantino has this great analogy when he's writing his movies. He wants to stretch out a rubber band. He's trying to stretch out the scene as far as it can go. He's trying to mine as much tension he can get. And I feel like that's the idea they were playing with here. But they just couldn't do it. These scenes felt overly long, and I'm just not a big fan of scenes that take too long to get to their punchline.
The payoff kind of.
It's funny that you mentioned Tarantino, because the opening monologue when Peter Bennett's talking about the Garth Manor.
Yeah.
Tarantino has quoted that that's one of his favorite scenes.
Because didn't he do that in one take? It was when he did this.
He did have to do many takes, but that is one take.
One take, yeah.
The final product is one take.
Yeah, see, I think that was pretty damn cool.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite scenes in the movie, just because the actor plays it in such a sleazy way, in a way that's like within character and within like the tone of this movie. And there's a couple other good scenes that I hope I rediscover as we're talking about this movie, but that's a good one.
I mean, you would say he's that quintessential '80s fraternity. He's that guy, right?
He's definitely that guy.
I mean,
it's always funny seeing actors of his age playing college students, because it just reminds me of Van Wilder. Like how long has this guy been in college for?
Oh yeah.
It's funny because one of the sorority members, I think, say, "Oh, this character lives for Hell Night."
Yeah.
How many years has he been going to this college?
I know, right?
I know. You look at the guy and you're like, yeah, that guy can't be 24. I mean, that would be like the oldest senior you would think of would be.
Yeah, right. And what at that point, what do you got? You're maybe 5-6 years in, so maybe you're on the. I don't know. I guess if you're pre-med or if you're pre-law, I didn't get the impression that he was either. But he was driving that cool Corvette, which.
Oh yeah.
Which again, these Corvettes keep showing up. They showed up in Happy Birthday to Me, which is
They're like the quintessential cool car in the 80s, I'm
They are.
guessing.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since you guys are like 35 in the 80s.
Shut up. Not that fucking old.
I'm sorry.
I think the douchey car for someone to drive back then was a Corvette, right?
Yeah, Corvette or IROC Camaro.
Yeah, I mean, especially for these types of characters, these, the guy that heads the fraternity, and
like people who abuse their privilege, I think is like the most modern way to describe it, right? Like they got power and they don't care about. Like the first thing the guy we see him do is basically molest a sorority person by rubbing her cheek and her chest.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, this guy's a sleazeball.
And then 2 seconds later,
he's like, "Who's that?"
Yeah, Linda Blair, Marty catches his eye, and he's like, "Yeah, okay, I'm moving on now." But before we jump into to actually really kind of dissecting this thing, let's take an opportunity, to get to know Morris a little bit. Ask him a few questions here. That way, it gives the listeners, kind of some insight as to who Morris is. Does that sound okay?
Sounds cool to me.
Cool, man. So let's just jump in really quick. The first horror movie you remember watching as a kid?
Oh, that's easy. So my dad used to work graveyards for Western Airlines, which is no longer around. So my mom and my sister and myself, as a little boy, would say goodbye to my dad. And this was on the weekend. And, growing up in the Bay Area, I had Creature Features that used to play on Channel 2. And my mom and my sister and I were snuggled up on the couch. I had to have been 3 or 4 years old. And lo and behold, black and white, original 1968's Night of the Living Dead was playing.
Oh wow. Okay.
So that was the very first horror movie I saw. I was hooked. I loved it. It scared the shit out of me. But from there, I knew I was a horror lover.
Yeah.
And from there, I discovered, the Universal monster movies. And I grew up with Creature Features growing up in the Bay Area. So I used to watch those on Saturday night. Everything from the Hammer Gothic stuff to, some of the late 60s, early 70s American films.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I love horror.
Yeah. So speaking of the, Universal monsters, do you have a favorite movie monster? And if you do, who is it and why?
Oh, so I would have to say growing up, it was Dracula. Without a doubt. Always wanted to be a vampire. If I had an opportunity to be a vampire, I would have ran with the Lost Boys.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So,
yeah.
but no, as I grow older, I appreciated more of the craft of what went into some of those costumes. And I have to say the Gill Man, the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah.
He's probably my favorite.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's cool.
He's just living his life, and someone just snatched him out of the Amazon. And, he just wants to go back home.
Hey, can I hop in here real fast?
Yeah.
I'm curious, Morris. You seem to have like a very good history of horror films. 'Cause they seem to go way back, at least until the 60s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, even further than that, yeah.
How do you get excited about horror movies these days?
I do.
About new releases?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I saw when your dad and I were, we usually bounce off, watching trailers. When I first saw the Hereditary trailer, I'm like, wow, this looks really good. And it has a feel for something a little different than, say, your average, spooky haunted phones that's killing everyone, or those type of, oh, look, it's the Slender Man. No, this one had like a different feel to it. And I told your dad, I said, let's go check this one out. I was really amped up to see that movie, and I have to say that delivered. That was a good movie that delivered. And then this past year, his follow-up, Ari Aster's follow-up movie, which was Midsummer, very different, but still I had that excitement to see it. I did finally see it. Different movie, but I was still excited to see it. I don't think your dad would like it, though.
Yeah, no, he knows me quite well. He knows, I enjoyed Hereditary. And Hereditary was one of those movies where it's like after you watched it, you had to think about it a lot. And And then it was almost like there was a greater payoff once you were able to just kind of let it sit in.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, no, I won't check out that. You know me, I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
I know I won't like it, so I just stay away from it. It's
And
just
then there's more mainstream stuff like It Chapter 1, Chapter 2. I enjoyed them. Yeah, I like Chapter 1 probably better than Chapter 2.
I mean, we talked about James Wan. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I think he's definitely got his finger on the pulse of what's happening in horror. I love his stuff. I mean, from Saw to Dead Silence to Insidious, Conjuring. I mean, he just gets it.
Yeah.
He gets the genre. There's a lot of people out there. We don't need to mention any names, but Morris, I'm looking at you. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
He does horror movies, but he does not do them well.
Yeah.
He should stick to other things, but we don't need to get into that.
No.
But next question. You know how I feel about reboots and remakes.
Oh yeah.
I'm very clear about that. But any particular reboot or remake that you've seen that you like that you may recommend that you thought was maybe better than the original?
Oh, yes. So, I love Wes Craven. Let me just point that out there and let everyone know. Wes Craven is probably one of my favorite horror directors. Last House on the Left, for me, I can appreciate the craft. It's dated. Way dated. Probably as dated as Romero's Crazies.
Oh God, I agree.
And it's hard to watch. And let me interject a little bit, going back to our current movie with Hell Night. And that's the reason why they had the kids in costume, because they didn't want to date them with the clothes that they were wearing. They put them in costume.
That's actually
That's smart.
And that was very smart
that's
because
smart.
it kind of it leaves it timeless in a sense.
Yeah.
With modern advances and whatnot. But anyway, going back, I would have to say that the remake of Last House on the Left is far superior, in my humble opinion, than the original. I can respect and know the grit and the realism of the original, and I can respect that. But the remake for me is just a better movie.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I think most of them I don't care for. You mentioned the Crazies.
Oh yeah,
that one, even though the remake wasn't great, it was watchable. It was cool.
It was definitely watchable.
But George Romero's one was just terrible.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was hard to watch. The unibrow, the entire movie, oh my God, kill him already. I mean, seriously, what does a pair of tweezers cost? I don't know. I mean, seriously, oh my God. But next question, top 5 slasher movies of all time.
Oh wow, you're really throwing me.
Yeah.
Because I have a revolving door of slasher movies. I want to say Halloween, but I don't consider it like a straight up slasher. As much as it started the slasher era,
Yeah.
it's not a straight up slasher. It's more of a, you can go into the details of, it's a teenage movie, but I would have to say top 5 slashers. I love the very first Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
I love that movie. I love the atmosphere. I love the sound design. I love the way it looks, and the way it plays out. It's before Jason, but it just has this feel to it that was never duplicated after that, in my opinion. As much as I like the other ones too, it's my favorite.
Yeah.
I would have to say My Bloody Valentine.
Yeah.
It's probably my number 1 favorite slasher of all time.
Yeah.
Never had it did have a remake or a reboot, but it never did have a sequel, and it almost set it up for a sequel.
Yeah, it did.
I would have to say The Prowler.
Oh yeah, that's
Prowler's
another one.
Is another one.
1981,
and very similar in its design. Hell Night is another favorite slasher,
which is appropriate for tonight.
It is very appropriate. And then I would have to say, oh gosh, House on Sorority Row.
Oh yeah,
I love that movie.
Yeah.
Its music is phenomenal, and I would have to say some of the visuals. There are, with a lot of these movies from the era, there's a lot of things that could be tweaked that, are little slips, but, I think it's one of my favorites.
Yeah. Awesome. Those are good. Yeah. Yeah. Last question before we dive into Hell Night here. Know you're a huge fan of the Italian horror genre. Uh-huh. Yeah. So the two that jump out to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, Lucio Fulci and Dario Argento.
Oh yeah, those are my two favorite directors.
Any preference? And if so, any particular reason you have a favorite movie of theirs that just,
So Argento was definitely style, and Fulci was definitely the substance of gore.
Yeah.
And they're both gory. I mean, both of them did some gory stuff, but Argento just had this just crazy style with crazy visuals, crazy colors. Wow, just almost like the colors.
Yeah.
And Fulci just, both directors had nightmare logic, which you're not supposed to follow because it'll just drive you crazy. But just he was the godfather of gore. They call him Lucio Fulci.
Yeah.
Favorite Argento film, I would have to say, is probably Deep Red.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And favorite Fulci movie, Zombie.
Yeah,
definitely Zombie or Zombie 2.
Zombie. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So there you go, man. Hopefully we, the listeners get to know Morris a little bit better before we dive into this. So, so Hell Night, so we start out at a fraternity party.
Yep.
Alpha Sigma Rho.
Which is funny because I looked this up, and Alpha Sigma Rho is not a fraternity. It's an Asian sorority.
That's interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
But the weird thing, in this movie, it constitutes Alpha Sigma Rho is the fraternity, and they never name the sister sorority that the other two pledges.
They don't.
But I didn't want to
No.
too long.
No, absolutely. No, please jump in whenever.
I'm very curious. Do we know what night Hell Night is? Do we know? Is it a specific night?
Yeah, it's
or is it just celebrated? Is it just a random night that happens to be the anniversary?
Is it the night?
It's the last night of like Pledge Week.
Oh, it's Pledge Week
or Hell Week. They call it Hell Week.
Hell Week, and it just happens to be the anniversary of the I guess the massacre and the suicide of Raymond Garth.
Yes.
There's no way college was actually like this in the 80s, right? This is all just heightened.
Well, hold on a second. We're not that old. Jesus. I think in 81, I would have been not even 10.
Let's see. In 81, I was 12.
An idea. You'd know if it was
Why
bullshit.
would I? Hold on a shake. Why would I know what a college is like at 9 or 10?
Because I can tell you that when I was in college, 2009 to 2013, no parties were ever like this. Ever. We're talking like entire streets essentially being shut down.
But you're also talking about the 80s, which came off of the 70s, and they had a lot of the crazy screwball comedies. Then they always exaggerated.
Oh, yeah.
So there might be places that are that crazy. I do remember Chico State back in the 80s was pretty crazy, and MTV even came out there and said, the craziest party school in the nation.
Yeah.
And they broadcast from Chico State. And that was back in 86. So, I don't know. I think some places could get crazy. I just think the movies just exaggerated it a little bit more.
Yeah, of course, man. We got to exaggerate it.
I mean, think of Animal House, the way they trashed that. I mean, would they really be able to to stay there? They would have kicked them out a lot sooner.
They condemned that place.
Yeah. I mean, the president was bragging about 2 windows not being broken yet.
Yeah.
Like, do you have like a window budget?
Yeah.
Like every year, do you just set aside a couple $100 to repair those broken windows?
Yeah. What was the line? He said it's not we're not ready until
so and so pukes
and then the
front windows are busted out.
Yeah. And then right on cue, there we go.
Also, do you guys know about pledges? I didn't join a frat, so is there really just like a 2-person limit? when
No,
it comes?
the funny thing is I was going to bring this to you guys' attention. There's normally a lot more.
Yeah.
And it's like, I was going to joke about this. It's like, what fraternity only has 2 guys pledging?
I know. I
Yeah.
think it's convenient to the story.
No,
yeah, because
maybe it's convenient to like the budget of the film.
Probably.
oh well, yeah. There you go. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
But like
makes-
4 people, I mean, there's like 7 like principals total.
Yeah, I think 7 total.
Yeah.
And they could have, I mean, to the credit of the creators of this movie, they could have had way more guys and girls,
Oh, yeah.
as fodder.
Yeah.
But I don't think they were thinking of that at this time. I think the fodder came a lot later, probably more mid 80s, to where they were just, we didn't even care about characters. We just wanted to kill them. They were just
kill them all.
setting them up to die.
Yeah. How are you going to do it? What creative way are you going to kill them?
Do you guys want to talk about the kills real fast? I didn't think the movie did anything cool. How does that lady get her head chopped off?
May. Is it May?
May.
Yeah, May.
She barely has a name. She's like on screen for like 2 minutes.
I mean, I don't know. She may not be like super important, but I mean, she's, we see her later on.
Yeah, well, we see her head here later
Yeah, we
on.
see her head
Yeah.
later on. I mean, her head's got a cameo, I guess.
Is her head getting chopped off by a shovel? Am I just imagining?
No.
it?
I want to say it's a huge. It almost looks like a huge cleaver, like almost like a.
Okay.
I want to say like a meat packing cleaver, like a meat packing plant.
Is that what you
cleaver.
thought? It almost
where
looked-
it's
yeah.
just enormous, and,
See-
and it has a long handle.
Yeah, maybe that was it. Because to me, it was so quick. I almost thought it was like it looked like some medieval axe or something.
It could, and that could have been what they were going for. But to me, I've paused and stopped that a few times. It does look like a meat packing plant cleaver.
Really? Okay. So head chop off, classic. You got to include one of these in your slasher movie.
you do.
Oh, you have to.
Yeah.
Neck being fully rotated.
Twisted, yeah.
That was Scott, wasn't it?
That was Scott.
I love. They do those a lot in movies where you have some, like in this one, you have like these mongoloid, monsters or whatever they
That just
are.
have this
And they're
ultimate strength.
ultimate strength, and they can do whatever. And this is typical. I'm gonna grab his head and I'm gonna twist that sucker around, and I love those.
Oh yeah, me too. That's true, because we do have slashers that deal with a killer, and usually the killer has a costume in some way, or a mask, or just dressed in black, or is bathed in the shadows.
Yeah,
And he
yeah.
has a weapon, either like a knife or an axe or a chainsaw or whatever,
or all of the above.
or all the above. But it's normally in a whodunit
Yeah,
type
yeah.
of slasher, like you guys were talking about. Happy Birthday to Me. It's
Yeah.
more of a whodunit.
Yeah.
Than it is like a monster slasher, to where it's a mongoloid, or it's a birth that went wrong, or,
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the case of this, or some of the other movies that I'm sure you guys will talk about in the future.
Yeah.
But that's these guys are born monsters.
Yeah, yeah. So we so we have 4 pledges, right? Conveniently 2 women, 2 men. They take their this trip up to Garth Manor, where where the fraternity leader what's his name? Is
Peter
it Peter?
Bennett.
Yeah, Peter is opens up opens up the gate. I thought I laughed at it, the dramatic scene with the gun and
Yeah.
and let me shoot open the lock and let everyone in, and okay.
I loved how stupid that was, and then we find out later it's a blank.
It's
Yeah.
just, yeah, there's a shooting.
and it was just for show.
Yeah.
It's little ideas that make me appreciate this
Or the
movie.
crazy thing too was he had to shoot open the lock, tell the story, bring him up, and then the entire place is lit up with candles.
Yes, yeah.
It's like, who lit those candles?
Yeah.
Obviously they did
Yeah.
the day
Oh,
before.
absolutely, yeah. Which, I mean, we could talk about later, but it's funny. It's like, okay, so all of them almost all of them die on this night, but they were there the day before, setting all of these sound effects and little trap thingies and candles, and
nobody got them.
And nothing happened to them. But it's convenient, it's convenient writing, I guess. But so Peter starts walking up the stairs towards the front of the. Is that what's happening at this point?
They reach the manor. They tell the pledges to stay here for one night. You do it. You're in our frat/sorority. If you want to have sex during this time, it's encouraged. Is more or less what this guy is saying.
It is an 80s slasher, so
yeah. It's a product of its time.
Yeah. And then everyone else leaves.
Well, I mean, he does. We hear his speech, which I think I mean, Morris and I loved it. I don't, did you enjoy the? He's kind of giving the history of Garth Manor and Raymond Garth and the several births and of his children, and how all of them they were either some deformed, they were deaf, they were blind, they were all of these things, and he kept striking out.
Did you notice the name of his first child?
I did. And I caught this and wrote it down. It was Morris. Yeah. But yeah, he tells us this. He goes on, and I enjoyed it. We get the backstory of everything that's going on. It's it's building up to. What's gonna, I don't know what's gonna happen here soon, but they go up to the the front of the mansion, and you guys gotta spend the night here. And I think what reality was 6 hours, 8 hours. I think
Yeah, they got there at midnight.
And I think
be alive by dawn at 6 a.m. and you're good.
Which was he said that it would be about 6 hours.
6 hours. So
are they planning to go to sleep at some point, or were they just going to be up all night doing this bullshit? Because I'd be pissed, despite it being Hell Week. I just want to go to sleep at some point, even when I was 21.
I think that's
22.
the sacrifice. if you want to be in this fraternity/sorority, that's the sacrifice. You're going to have to put up with it for 6 hours.
Yeah. I mean, that's honestly dedication from Peter and friends, because doing that for 6 hours takes like a lot of gusto.
Yeah.
Like to like very cheaply torture someone for 6 hours.
Shit, I know, right?
They like see right through it too, and I do appreciate that too. They investigate, find the speaker.
Oh yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, of course they're fucking with us.
Yeah.
Everyone leaves, and this is at the point where I'm like surprised. I was expecting like, okay, there's going to be 20 people pledging, and then we're going to get like 16 fodder kills for fun.
So at the gate, you just see the 4.
Yeah, and then everyone else is
yeah.
leaving.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're left alone. Obviously, it's spooky time. We're in a horror slasher film, so we know that some, if not all, of these kids are gonna meet their doom. And let's start the adventure. Yeah. And then they head back to the house, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're in the house. Conveniently almost paired off.
They paired off right away.
Like immediately.
Yeah.
Like hey, we know what's happening here. Let's go do this. What was it? Seth and Denise.
Yeah, Seth and Denise.
But which is hilarious because she can never get his damn name right. She
kept calling him Wes,
which is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, she finally gets it right at the very end, before something happens. But we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. So they pair up. They head upstairs. I mean,
this is where the movie lags for me. And I think this movie lags at this particular part because I've seen this idea explored in more recent films better. This idea where there is a setup that's going to be perpetrated by regular humans, in this case, the frat leaders, Peter, Scott, and what's that third? May. Yeah. Where they're just going to fuck with the pledges. And this is essentially the exact same, change a bunch of details, so it's not exactly, but this is very similar to the film Ganjiam Haunted Asylum, which came out, I think, in 2018. And the idea of that movie is there's a film crew, they're going to go to a haunted asylum, like your History Channel type stuff, or your sci-fi type stuff. see all the supernatural ghosts. And obviously they're putting on a show. Everything is fake until real stuff starts to happen. And that's exactly what this movie's doing. There's a bunch of fake stuff happening, and then we're going to get to like the actual murders. And for Ganji scared the shit out of me in some places. This movie isn't doing that. And again, I can recognize there's this 30-year advancement in just filmmaking, especially horror filmmaking, where everything is kind of ramped up. And maybe I'm just desensitized to the stuff that's being portrayed in this film. But I just could not get... I didn't enjoy the fake stuff that was then going to be set up for the fakers getting killed first.
Right.
You know? So I don't know.
That's understandable.
This stuff just didn't work for me necessarily. Especially when I knew they were just going to be killed off at some point.
Yeah.
And I just wanted the movie to like, can you please just get to the point where they're killed and their bodies are found by the four pledges, and then the pledges start getting killed off.
Yeah. And I think that's why being that this was kind of the early round of slasher movies, that they were setting up the characters. We were getting backstory with the characters and getting to know them, and getting to know Marty, getting to know Jeff. And, he came from a rich class. She came from a working class, worked at her dad's garage. And of course they set that up.
Oh, sure.
Because they had to, because it's going to pay off later.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And, and then we learn about, Seth and the fact he's a surfer, and, he's talking about that with Denise, and, they're, and the funny thing is they're with Seth and Denise, they're setting that up for a lot of, you're thinking there's going to be some sex and stuff going on.
Yeah.
They played it very clean.
Very clean. And that was, I think, done purposely, wasn't it?
It was.
Because I think, Vincent Van Patten, who played Seth, I think because he comes from a family of, of actors. And so, and I they were like, I don't think doing this nude stuff isn't going to happen, because I think it, would you say it kind of puts like a black mark on their family name, doing this. Right. First of all, you're doing a slasher, a horror movie, okay, but then you get nude on top of it,
That's true.
But getting back to what you said, Donovan, it's your generation, it's different. Like we kept saying, we come back to this, the accessibility of everything. We didn't have any of that.
Right.
When, Morris and I are 2 years apart, so 81, 10, 12-ish, we didn't have any of that. We didn't have internet. We had nothing. We had none of that. So, when you we would see other movies, in this genre. And I think we just, over time, it sunk in a little bit that I don't know if sunken is the correct word, but
I think you savored it more.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking for myself. I think I savored what I was given. I was given stimulus, being a movie or TV program that had horror elements in it, and I savored it because I didn't have. Yeah, you didn't have internet. We didn't have. At that time, in my family, we got our first VCR in 81. So, I mean...
That sounds about right, yeah.
Everything that I watched, I had to dial into the TV guide, and circle what program I wanted to watch, and make sure that I was around to watch that program, because there was no taping it. There was no DVRing it.
None of that. And Donna and I talked about this in a previous episode. The video store, it's like, at this age, it's like, okay, maybe we saw a trailer, on TV, but I mean, we'd go in the video store Friday, Saturday, and we'd go through the aisles and we'd pick up movies. Maybe we heard of them, some of them, maybe we didn't. And so a lot of times we were intrigued by maybe just a cover.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like, Happy Birthday to Me, I always loved the cover. Hell Night, love the artwork in Hell Night.
I definitely did.
And so if I knew nothing about Hell Night, and there was a good chance I didn't at that age, I saw the cover and I was like, okay, I got to see this.
Oh yeah.
And so some of these movies, they don't hold up. Some of them do, and they just, or some of them you just kind of you allow some of the or just accept some of the the maybe it doesn't, maybe it doesn't,
quirkiness,
you just,
or the
because it holds a place. It holds a place.
It does.
And I think that's what Hell Night is doing here, at least for Morris and I.
Yeah, I'm curious, how much is like nostalgia and this idea of it scared you as a kid or it worked for you as a kid is at play here when you're watching this movie today?
Well, I saw it when I was 16. Being that I've seen the cover, like you said, at the mom and pop stores, I didn't actually watch the movie until my buddy Art and I were in a 7-Eleven. I don't know if you remember this, but for a short time at 7-Eleven, they used to have Movie Quick, where you could grab a movie off of a wall at 7-Eleven, bring it up to the front counter, and then behind the counter they had the movie.
I think I do remember that.
And then you can rent the movie. So it was just like a little slab.
Yes. Yeah.
So I saw it there, and my buddy and he was house sitting for a friend, and he's like, "Hey, you want to pick some movies so we could watch? They have a VCR." I'm like, "Yeah, cool, man." So I'm like, I've never seen that movie. He goes, "You've never seen Hell Night?" I said, "No, I love horror movies. I've seen tons of them, but I've always, for whatever reason, never yanked that one to watch." He's like, "You got to watch it." So I didn't watch it until I was 16.
Okay.
And I immediately loved it. Did it scare me? No. But I was absolutely intrigued by the atmosphere and the attention to detail. It was, again, played up classy for the audience. And little side note, it was a Compass International movie, which also did Halloween. It was
interesting.
Irwin Yablin's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I see. I don't remember when I watched it for the first time. I want to say it was early 80s sometime. And it did scare me. And I rewatched it again last night, and it scared me. There were just elements in the movie that, and again, it was the music, it was suspense, it was the tension.
Very suspenseful.
Yeah. And I love shit like that. And so, last night I'm watching this thing, and I've seen it several times. I know what's going to happen, but it still scared the shit. I still jumped. I'm like, damn, the scene where, well, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We can talk about it later.
Yeah.
So at this point we're knee deep in Garth Manor. They're paired off. We got Seth and Denise, and we got Marty and Jeff. And Denise is Denise. she's cute.
Yeah,
first of all, oh my god,
pretty cute.
She's pretty damn cute.
Yeah.
That accent that didn't hurt it either. But she's definitely a party girl. I mean, I don't know what she didn't have on her. Alcohol, drugs, she had it all.
She had a little radio.
She had a little radio
a little
too.
tiny radio.
Yeah.
But that was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it was immediate for them.
She had cocaine, Quaaludes, whiskey. You name it, that girl had it.
She had it, yeah. And then, so they went up and did their. They went up and did their thing, right?
Yeah.
And
it's implied, but they
they
never showed them without bra and panties and underwear.
And Marty and Jeff, we could tell right away. Yeah, Marty wasn't that easy. So
No.
Jeff's gonna have to definitely work for it.
He had to work for it. And poor guy only got a kiss.
So he only got a kiss. But in the meantime, outside is we have May, we have Peter and Scott, and they're
coming back.
They're coming back, to kind of
Park in the car, sneak in up to the house,
Yep.
and they have some tricks up their sleeve.
There's some tricks up their sleeve, yeah.
Oh, and I wanted to note to you, and I don't know if you noticed this. So we were talking about the sound design of this movie.
Yeah.
And after Peter Bennett says, up in Garth Manor, and then they pan to the house, they had like a similar sound that reminded me of the Warriors.
Oh shit! I didn't even catch that.
With the the meow.
Yeah.
Meow.
No, I didn't even catch
and then
that.
when they pull back up and they're coming to Garth Manor, when they're going to do their tricks, they have this kind of just it's a similar sound, and it reminds me of a product of its time, and I think I love it for those reasons as well.
Yeah.
And answering Donovan's question, I love it for the little subtleties that make it a product of its time. Because I think I long and look after those little things that I love about horror.
Yeah. So at this point we have they're out there. They're kind of starting to
They're setting up stuff. Turning on their little boxes,
little cool sound effects. And,
their screams and cries and moaning and haunted stuff.
And like we said earlier, I don't think they were ever. I mean, they might have been a little scared by it, but I think they were able to figure this out fairly quickly. That this was just someone screwing with them. So outside, I think around this time is when May was it Scott? Scott was kind of doing his thing, and then
Scott
and May she was kind of wasn't she walking around the house? She was walking around the house, right?
Because there was all these Peter were setting up to do they're doing the wiring and fixing connecting the wire boxes.
Yeah.
And then Peter tells May to go take care of something, and she wanted to watch, and then he made her I think she was supposed to go back around the car.
Yeah.
But then she decides to walk around the house.
And we know there's all these kind of little holes and trap doors and stuff, and of course, she's walking around and she gets grabbed.
Yep.
And gets pulled down into, what is this, a base? What is that? Would you say a basement? What?
It's almost like I would say like a moat cave that wraps around the house.
Is that what that was?
Or a corridor.
Yeah.
But it's got little openings around the house.
Yeah.
And she gets pulled down in, and that's when she gets cleavered.
She
in the neck.
She's victim number one. She don't make it. But I like this kill. I like the decapitation.
I did too. It was a fast cut, but
we know what's happening.
Yeah.
We know what's going on there. In the meantime, what was Scott and Peter doing their thing?
Yeah.
I think didn't Scott end up he made his way up to the roof, didn't he?
He did. Yeah, he moved up to the roof to set up physical terror, as he says.
Physical terror. Yeah.
Phase 2, physical terror.
Yeah, phase 2. And he said whatever up on the top. He had a dummy, right?
Yeah,
like a dummy with a mask.
With a mask,
and of course he keeps hearing noises behind him, and goes to investigate. Sees nothing, but then of course it's that quintessential turnaround, and there. Yeah, which we see all the time. Which still gets me.
And I love that. I love that scene for the fact it's subtle, because you can hear the wind and you see the leaves on the roof.
Yeah, I like that.
And he's stitching up his his physical dummy with the mask.
Yeah.
And I just love that. And then of course he gets his head twisted.
Did you like this, Donovan? Nah? Oh, come on. Yeah.
Come on. Look, you guys are having a good time talking about this movie.
I think it's cliche for Donovan, because he's seen it so many times.
I have. But the difference between me and you guys is you guys seem to enjoy it. I think for me, I'm just looking for more ideas. I want you to. We know the base mechanics of a slasher. How do you make it interesting for me? And the movie's not doing anything like that. I've already said, this is a very surface level movie, and I guess I'm just expecting more during my time when I'm watching a movie.
Right.
Like, how do you tickle my brain? And the movie's not really doing any of that.
I don't think a lot of them did that back then. I think they set it up for, what's some of the most interesting ways we can kill some kids. And it wasn't until later that they started to, kind of experiment with some of those levels to mix it up a bit. And I think that's why we have Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah. It's like, how can we kill some kids? Oh, wait a minute. In their dreams.
Yeah.
Well, in their dreams, you can do whatever the hell you want.
Exactly. And that opens up a different door.
In this movie, the kills aren't all that interesting to me either. I think the coolest kill was the head turn.
Yeah.
But decapitation I've seen before. Someone being thrown out the window.
Yeah.
That's pretty sloppy in my opinion. Getting stabbed by a giant scythe. It gets cool for description points,
Yeah.
but the actual kill itself
like that
is
kill.
also kind of.
I do
blow.
like that.
I like
kill,
that
too.
kill. I mean, goes.
It reminds me
you
a
know.
lot of Halloween with the machete or the knife. You know, where the guy gets.
Oh, where he
Boom,
lifts
and-
him
Bob.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
he
gets
lifts
stabbed
him
into
up
the
and then he
closet.
just
Yeah.
kind of stares at him. I mean, there's definitely a look. We know, Morris and I more so. We know there's a recipe for these slasher movies,
Yeah.
and they definitely stuck to them for the most part.
Yeah.
See, this is for you guys. This looks. It's like a vanilla cake, and you're like, I'm happy with this vanilla cake.
Oh, yeah.
But I want like sprinkles on it. I want there to be strawberries on it. I want there to be something inside the cake, and I'm just not getting there with this movie.
I don't think you're gonna get much more than vanilla cake when you, if you're looking for more. I think I'm happy because I love the slashers. I love the golden age of slashers, and I'm okay with the fact that I know that I've seen them many times.
Yeah.
Do they scare me at this point? Not really. Do they unnerve me in certain ways and certain ones? Oh yeah, definitely.
We talked about this last week on our Dead Alive episode, and I'm okay with surface level ideas as long as they're exploring it as much as they can. For like Dead Alive example, like that whole point of that movie was how do we gross out our audience?
Yeah.
How do we do the most gory shit? How do we make the coolest kills? Like what could we do with this very simple idea of people start to rot? You know, basically like a zombie film as they're being zombified. You know, it's just gross out horror film. And then I'm comparing it the following week to Hell Night, and the idea is, you know, how do we kill these kids? You know, and I guess the whole idea is drop them in a house. There's secret tunnels. There's two strong men who've been living here for 12 years and apparently been doing just fine. They don't.
Yeah. What?
They don't skip out on arm day, that's for sure. But it's like, well, okay, but what are you doing with that idea? And the character work doesn't work for me either. That's also just kind of there. This guy's a surfer. She's good with cars. Seth has a rich family, and I'm sorry, I'm getting the names mixed up.
it's okay.
Seth is the surfer.
Yeah, Seth's the surfer. Yeah.
Jeff is the rich boy.
Yeah, rich. Yeah.
You know, and then the college kids are just, hey man, we're stereotypical college kids. Let's fuck with the pledges because that's what we're supposed to do, right? We're a 1980s slasher film, and this. I want to watch you guys have fun because I'm having fun watching you guys enjoy this film in a way that I couldn't.
I mean, reality is what, man? We know there was at the height of the slasher genre, which this was, they were cranking these movies out.
They were.
They were trying to make money off of these things. As soon as Halloween hit, and they go, holy shit, look what we can do here.
Oh yeah.
And then all of them followed.
Yeah,
And
and trends like that definitely happen. I mean, look no further than like Paranormal Activity.
Yeah.
Where that was made on a shoestring budget, and then we got like 10 more of those.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and so what? Yeah, it's not like an original story. You're not gonna really get that with the slasher. Let's be real.
No.
You're really not. I mean, a couple tweaks here and there, and we'll change it up a little bit. But there's again, like I said earlier, there's a recipe to this thing. You know, we're gonna be out in the woods at a camp, or we're gonna be in a haunted, some sort of house or mansion or whatever it is. There's certain things that they follow.
And plus, I know you're looking for something more. With Peter Jackson, you're talking about Dead Alive, and you love that movie. I think if Peter Jackson were to make a slasher, he'd probably be more like Cabin in the Woods, where it's balls out and just a bevy of ideas.
I would love if Peter Jackson went back to like this. Yeah, like didn't he do like a horror movie with what's that one?
No,
Was that a horror film? I know we're thinking of the same film. Where it also takes place in a mansion.
No, that wasn't Peter Jackson.
That wasn't Peter Jackson.
No,
Who am I thinking
that
of?
was
Guillermo del Toro?
Guillermo.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're thinking of Crimson Peak?
Yes,
Crimson
thank you.
Peak.
Which is a movie I've
Yeah.
not seen, but I've only heard about. But I would love it if Peter Jackson went back to his roots.
Could you imagine if some of these, I mean, if they went, I mean, hell, I would even take a horror movie from Sam Raimi anymore. Like, what the hell happened to that? You know, I mean, what was the last horror movie he did? Drag Me to Hell?
Drag Me to Hell.
Which was fucking awesome.
Was so fucking awesome,
yeah.
right?
And it was PG-13.
And it was so fucking cool. And it's like, dude, Sam, if you're listening, come on, man, give us another damn a horror movie. I mean, I love Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
But you know, let's get back. So where are we at now with?
They're doing fake shit and they're dying while
So
doing it.
right now we got. So who's dead right now?
Scott's dead.
And May's dead.
May's dead. And Peter goes
Peter-
to investigate where Scott's at.
Yeah, we're
Oh, well, we
all
forgot
my
to
partners
mention
in
that
crime?
after Seth and Denise, you know, were rolling around in the bed for a bit.
Yeah.
Denise gets up. She looks like she was just sleeping. And she goes to go check on her face. She hears some noises. She goes to the mirror.
Yeah.
And I think that's when Peter decides to mess with her. He has like a
The
mask on, and
mask
he's
on,
on
yeah.
the opposite side of the wall.
Yeah, that, you know, rewatching that was kind of a letdown for me. Like he went through all of this and that was it. It was like,
Yeah.
it was like, it's like she didn't even notice it.
You're not really.
No, like at all, right?
Yeah.
Also, the idea here is he's going to sit at the one-way mirror for
That long, yeah.
who knows how long.
Who knows how long?
Just to
Right.
maybe
Because she was sleeping too.
Yeah,
maybe scare someone.
Yeah.
What were you
Yeah.
expecting, dude? You
Yeah,
could
that
be
was-
doing way cooler scares right now.
Oh, absolutely. That was a little disappointing for me.
And a little odd too when you think about it.
It's also pretty
So-
pervy, but this
So
is
I
the
mean, if you
80s.
wanted
Well,
to,
yeah.
you know, if I wanted to pick the movie apart, so that little secret door was at the base of the house,
Yeah.
and Seth and Denise were on the third floor. Remember, they're on the third floor.
Oh yeah.
So was there a ladder going up inside the house? And how did he not run into gorked out Andrew?
I know, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I could pick it apart, but I mean, surface.
Oh, we could do that
Yeah,
with
with any
most
movie.
of this, especially most of the slasher movies, but we won't do that. So Peter at this point, I think he heads up. He heads up to the roof. I mean,
He's coming out of there, and he's yelling for Scott, and he heads up to the roof.
Yeah, heads up to the roof. You know,
And trips over a body,
Yeah, trips
and
over
then
a
he
body.
discovers that, wait a minute, is that somebody wearing a mask?
Yeah.
He's not quite sure.
Yeah.
And then he sees another body over the side.
Yeah, he starts
To crank it out.
Starts cranking it out, almost like he's caught a fish, right?
Yeah.
Like he's reeling it in.
But he's just not sure what's there.
Yeah.
And you know, you think about it, it's like, okay, well, here's that body that Scott was working on. Didn't he think that was probably Scott that he was lifting up?
Who knows? Maybe.
I mean, would you want to be cranking that
hell no. First of all, let's be clear. My ass would not be there.
on the roof?
No, I wouldn't be there at all. No fucking way. I ain't pledging this shit. I'm not staying here. I'm cool to watch it as a movie. My ass isn't staying there. I'm chilled at home. I'm in my dorm. Whatever. I'm not pledging shit.
Especially a mansion with no electricity, no gas.
Fuck that, man. You know what happened? Once he told that story, yeah, I'm out.
Yeah.
But he cranks up the line or whatever. What is that? Like some metal line, and then there we go. We got Scott. We got. And
he finds Scott, and then he runs down the ladder.
Oh, he shits bricks, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and he runs down the ladder. Fuck this! I'm out of here.
And then he sees somebody, and then he ends up in a hedge maze.
Well, yeah, he goes to the he heads to the gate.
Oh, that's
and
right.
he cannot get the keys out quick enough and get it in that lock to get out. And then
Gorked out Andrew.
Gorked out Andrew shows up and
And face palms him.
Yeah, face palms him. Yeah,
And he face palmed Scott too on the roof.
I think you think he did.
He likes to face palm people.
He likes to face palm.
He does.
Yeah. So then he's running around trying to get away from Andrew. And ends up in the what is this?
It's like a hedge maze.
Hedge maze.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, he's running, he's running all around. He sees
somebody.
He sees somebody. And he's like, shit, I'm good.
He whips around and gets
he gets
sickled in the stomach.
Sickled in the stomach.
So it wasn't the same person.
Same person.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're starting to kind of piece this together. Hey, maybe there's more than one. So he's dead.
Yep.
So now the three pranksters are gone. So now we're left with the four pledges.
Yep. 4 pledges and maybe 2 killers.
Maybe 2 killers. Yeah. So where are we at now? Where are we at? We're back in the house. We're back in the manor, the mansion.
Are you asking me?
Yeah, we're back in. Well, I think at this
point,
look, we know
all
what's
this stuff. I watched this movie today, and I was thinking like, what happens now while you guys were talking about it after he was killed, and they don't know that anyone is dead yet, right?
No.
Okay, so they're
They don't
alerted.
even know anyone's there.
They're alerted to the death when fun time with Seth and what's her name?
Denise.
Yeah.
He goes to the John. He comes back. In the meantime, she gets kidnapped by one of the figures.
Yeah, she gets taken. We're not sure what happens to her.
And she's replaced by May's head in the bed. And then Seth finds out, and then they're alerted to actual bad stuff is happening in the manor.
Yeah. I mean, before they're hearing noises, they're not sure what's happening, and he finds it comes back from the John.
So this is the part that I have the most problem with in where you start getting angry at a movie. So Seth's bolting out of there as quickly as he can. And, he's trying to get over the fence because he can't, it's locked. They find out that there's blanks in the gun.
Yeah.
He's trying to get over the fence, which has spikes all the way around.
Spikes.
You're going to cut your nuts off like Peter said.
Not to mention the side of the fences seems to be super sharp.
Yeah.
The side,
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, because he cuts his hand.
Yes.
And it wasn't on top. It was on the side. So we're made to believe this thing is...
And we're also made to believe, since he's climbing, that his strength is holding him up. And then he's like lifting himself over.
Yeah,
He's got to be pretty damn strong.
Oh, fuck, yeah.
Stronger than a gymnast when on a rings.
Yeah.
To lift himself up to go over those spikes. But he does it.
Yeah.
Comes over.
We're supposed to believe it, yeah.
And then he runs towards town, which...
Seems super like...
far.
Well, yeah.
Well, I mean...
We know it's far.
On the way in, it seemed far.
So we're not at the point where you're mad yet?
No.
I thought you were going to say, he shoots the lock 4 times. He doesn't even stop to check the first shot. He just bam, 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 bam. No more bullets. What the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
But I think I know where you're heading towards, so I'll let you continue.
So he heads into town trying to convince people to help him. And then he goes to the police station.
Yeah. I think.
And of course, no one's believing him, which always bugs me in movies.
Me too. You're a cop. You have to... Someone has said... There's a murder.
Exactly.
You take that shit seriously.
I don't care how many times they've been pranked.
Yeah.
They said, "Oh, we've been pranked all night. We'll arrest you."
Do your
little
fucking
asshole.
job, man. Yeah.
Yeah, you're a cop. You should take that in consideration. And of course, it's a horror movie, so cops never believe them. Cops never, cops go to investigate the body and never go. Never listen to people in the back seat. Don't go over there. No, he's playing dead. It just never works out for cops.
Not only that, but they have like their evidence room unlocked.
Exactly. He locks himself
the entrance.
Give me a fucking break, yeah.
And he's able to leave the evidence room.
Yeah, without getting caught or
without
detected.
being caught.
He had his choice of whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
Whatever, I think he grabbed a shotgun, And door was wide open.
I would have grabbed more than a shotgun.
Oh, fuck, I would agree. Yeah, I would have grabbed everything I can get my hands on,
It's one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah.
I'm glad you think that too, and that's coming from someone who actually likes the movie.
Yeah,
well,
that's
yeah.
true.
I mean, look, these movies aren't perfect. We know that.
Yeah.
I mean, come on,
There's little things. That,
Yeah. It was funny because he literally, you can see him in the background climbing out the window, and you're telling me no one in that fucking precinct squad, whatever the hell it was, saw him.
Right.
But I mean, he's got to get away. I mean, he's got to get away. I mean, if he can't get a police officer to go with him. Well, shit, the next best thing is I'm gonna leave packing.
Exactly.
And then at this point he heads out the window, he steals the car, right? I mean, basically steals a car. And where the hell is all the people? This town. Did you see anyone in the town?
No.
There's fucking nobody.
There's no one. It's like the after their shenanigans, the town just like folded up.
It's like they shut down and I don't know. There's a fucking curfew and everyone's inside. I don't know. But he steals the car, hauls back to Garth Manor. At this point, we know Marty and Jeff. They know shit's got real. They are essentially trying to survive here until Seth comes back with help.
Right.
At least they hope with help.
That's right.
And so I think I know they put themselves up in a room, but then they look out the window and they see a light. And so Jeff
goes to investigate,
and it's like, yeah, let me just leave you here.
Yeah,
all this shit is going south, but I'm gonna leave you here in this room. Yeah, you'll be okay. I'm gonna go investigate what light I'm seeing out there. No fucking way I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Look, I'm hoping whoever's out there is okay, but I'm staying right here.
Right.
So he leaves Marty. He heads on out there, and at this point he's trying to be all slick and watch out, make sure no one's around, and then of course he gets to it and it's a fucking flashlight and
he sees Peter.
Peter's dead. I'm like, God,
But at least he grabbed the keys.
Yes. Did he grab the keys?
No, he did not.
No, he doesn't.
Grab the keys?
Because those are later.
Oh,
the keys are still there.
Okay.
Yeah, keys are there. We get those later on. But he basically goes back. He grabs the pitchfork.
That's right.
He grabs the pitchfork.
He grabs the pitchfork.
Yeah. And does he? I don't think he stabs anyone. No.
I
don't think he stabs anyone.
Not
I think
until
he grabs the
later.
pitchfork, heads back up to the room.
Yeah.
And that's where he's on guard.
Yeah.
I'm sure the door's locked. I think Marty's on the bed, and he's on the lookout.
He's on the lookout
with the pitchfork.
with it, which is weird. It's like he's pointed in one direction.
Yes, towards the door.
Yeah.
If you think about it, well, anyone would do that, right? I mean, I would. If I'm in a room, I lock the door, and I think to myself, okay, there's a window. What's the odds of them coming through? I'm gonna be looking at the door.
That's true. Yeah.
But of course, this is
If it's a strange house, I'm kind of gonna position myself in
maybe
an area
against the
where,
wall. Maybe against the wall, so I can kind of see everything.
See everything.
But again, this is this old mansion with all these different tunnels, and there's a fucking hole in the ground
Right.
in the floor, and then we get that, and I think this is kind of. So, what did you think about this? This is just coming to me. What did you feel that when the figure was coming out of the floor and the rug was on top of this figure?
Yeah.
What did that remind you of? Think about this really quick. Did it not kind of did it remind you of Halloween with Michael and the sheet?
And the sheet?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I know it's not the same.
It's not the same, but I did like that effect, and I thought that was effective suspense going back to it. But I know it's a product of its time.
No, this was goofy for me.
Yeah, you didn't like that.
I was like, how does he see through that rug? Because rugs aren't something you can.
That's true.
Yeah.
Rugs aren't something
That's
you can
true.
see through maybe like a blanket or a sheet. Rugs are like thick, and there's also like this underside to
true.
a rug.
I don't know. Maybe he was just hoping he got lucky. I don't fucking know.
Also, like he was like, his whole plan was, they just won't see me. What the fuck?
Yeah.
I know. Well, I
While you
guess
sneak up
that's
on
true,
them?
huh? You're just hoping that Marty's on the bed looking towards the door.
As soon as you start raising up, they're like,
Jeff, yeah.
stab this fucker.
Yeah, oh, fuck yeah. But right before he gets there, Marty turns around, sees this figure. Jeff stabs it with a pitchfork, and okay, cool. We're thinking, okay, maybe one less, fucking creepy
Right.
mongoloid, but then They pull back the rug, and hey, there's a trap door. And then of course, let's go investigate because we have to.
Let's go Scooby Doo this thing.
Yeah, you know.
I'm not totally against Jeff.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
I'm not totally.
I actually like.
I'm not
really
totally
like him,
against Jeff like going down there. He just stabs the one killer he thinks is in the house.
Yeah.
With a pitchfork. I'm totally down with him double tapping and getting the job done. You know, like this is your one chance to be rid of the problem. You might as well be proactive,
right,
and not get like ambushed again.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I'm kind of okay with that. It's
I think he stabbed him twice and then it stuck. Is that right?
I think it did stick. Yeah.
Dude, finish the job, dude. Let's get this movie over with.
Never fucking finish the job in these. That's what always pisses me off in these movies. It's let's hit them once and let's throw it down on the ground, and then we're surprised when they get back up. And dude,
but that's
I know
that's
I know
the whole point of our movies.
It is, and I've accepted it, but it doesn't mean it doesn't piss me off, because you know if I'm in that position. And let's just say I survived long enough and I'm not killed, you know, early on. And I have a chance. I have a machete. I have a knife. I have an axe. I don't care, a hammer. I am beating this fucker to death. I am chopping shit off. You know, I am not taking a chance for this person to get back up and chase me and fucking kill me. And I don't know, maybe some of my friends are still alive. And
that's right.
You know, so, but yeah, so they go down in the, you know, down below in the tunnels,
the
catacombs, you know.
And lo and behold, what do they find? They find the ending of Happy Birthday to Me.
Happy Birthday to Me. That's awesome. Totally. I think the only thing I was missing was the cake. The cake, I think, was the only thing missing. Yeah, we had a ton of dead corpses as well as Denise.
There was a lot of movies of that time that had that ending scene, the final setup where there's dead bodies around a table. And I think I had a list at one time, but anyway.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, so they see that. Of course, they freak out. Then they see who are they seeing at this point? Is this Andrew or I? You know,
it is Andrew.
Is it Andrew? He starts chasing them. There's there's a struggle with Andrew and Jeff, and
the actor actually hurt himself.
Yes, I did read that. Yeah.
Hurt his
so
foot.
The limp was real,
And then when he was doing reshoots, he had to put a rock in the shoe for that to remind him what side he had to limp on, because I guess they had to do some reshoots.
Oh yeah. That's I think I heard that as well. So they're fighting with Andrew. I mean, you know, I think they fall down the stairs.
Yeah.
Gets back up. I don't know. Probably kicks Andrew. He falls down. I think at this point they get through that weird. Is that door on the?
Yeah.
It's like a whatever that is.
It's like a little.
It's not a trap door. It's just like a secret door. It's just some
it's
secret.
like the secret stone door.
Secret stone door, which seemed really easy to lift.
Yeah. But it had that sound.
The sound.
It had such a Scooby-Doo sound.
I mean, the door itself would have probably weighed hundreds of pounds, right?
But it was you nudged it, and then it almost had like the shut technology where it closes. You give it a nudge, and then it closes on its own. You nudge it, and it opens up. I like that.
Yeah.
It's funny.
In the meantime, what Seth is hauling ass back to the. He stole the car. He's hauling ass back to the manor, right?
Yeah.
He gets there, sees a figure in front of the gate.
Yeah.
And goes to see what's happening. There is looks like the gate itself is almost like pulled apart where he can get through. And was that there the whole time, or was that just made?
We don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah.
We're just I don't know. Maybe it just happened. Let's just assume it happened, and he's on lookout.
Yeah, he's on foot and he's headed up to the house.
Packing.
And then, lo and behold.
Yeah, who is this that jumps out? I don't know.
It's funny. As many times as I've seen this movie, they never mention
the other name.
The other name.
Yeah.
Until I started watching some of the bonus features, and then I guess in the script it's supposed to be Morris.
There you go. Yeah. So there's a struggle there, right, between them. They fight. He loses the gun, which of course, I can't. I got to get to it. I can't reach it. It's barely out of my reach. Finally gets it. Shoots Morris.
Yep. Ouch.
Don't take offense, but shoots Morris. Of course, we know Morris isn't dead, right?
Right.
We know Morris.
It's a horror
dead.
movie.
It'd be too simple. But I think he ends up. What does he fall back into, like a pond or
It's a little pond.
Little pond,
yeah,
right?
Little fountain.
So he cautiously goes up, and of course, this figure Morris jumps back out, and he caps his ass.
He does.
This time he kills him.
Morris is looking like the Wolfman too.
He's looking like the Wolfman.
Yeah, he has a hairy face.
He's their fucking hairy. Yeah.
And what's funny is I was trying to remember the ways that they were killed, to really think about who was alive and who was dead. Because Raymond Garth and his wife Lillian, he strangled Lillian.
Yeah.
And then he bashed in Morris's head. Then he took the poker and then he impaled his one daughter.
I thought he had killed two with the poker.
Yeah,
he beat one to death with a poker.
Well,
and
that was Morris.
That was Morris. Okay, so beat Morris with the poker.
Beat Morris with the poker,
and then stabbed the daughter, right? With the
Suzanne.
Poker. Suzanne.
And then Margaret, he slit her throat.
That's fucked up.
The one that couldn't see or hear or anything,
or both. Yeah.
See, hear, or speak. and then left Andrew to see everything. And I guess Andrew revived Morris, or they drug all the bodies to the corridor.
Yeah.
Or the little catacomb area.
Unless, obviously we know the story wasn't quite 100% accurate, right?
Yeah. It's true.
So yeah.
It's a legend.
Yeah, it's a legend. So we can take liberties and make shit up, or alter it a little bit,
But you would think, and of course it's a horror movie, but you would think that police investigating this place and these murders, that they would have combed that entire area, found anything.
Yeah, you would think.
But
I don't know. And then you'd also think there would probably be something better on it than just one lock to the gate. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
So Seth has now killed Morris.
Yeah.
Makes his way to the front door of the mansion, or Garth Manor. Yells out for Marty and Jeff.
And Marty and Jeff come to the balcony area of the foyer, I guess.
Yeah.
And then
he's all, hey, I killed
I got him.
We're good, man. We're good. And then
Andrew,
yeah.
He wasn't expecting Andrew to grab him, and then we hear a gunshot, and
yeah, we're not sure because we don't see it.
Yeah,
we hear it, but we don't see it, so we're not quite sure. And we don't really hear anything at that point. And then isn't the gun's thrown out into the like the little hallway or something, right?
It's like
the entryway.
Come get me.
Yeah, come get me.
Trap.
And so Marty's like, okay, well we know Jeff at this point can't really. He's I don't know, a little disabled. He's hurt himself, so he's up there, and he leaves her earlier, and now why don't you go and take care of that?
Why don't you go grab that gun?
Why don't you go downstairs, grab that gun? He doesn't say it.
You can fix a car.
Yeah, he doesn't say it, but yeah, she goes down to go grab it as she gets closer, and then Andrew jumps out, and then there's a chase. There's a chase up the stairs, up the stairs to the bedroom.
Yeah, And they try to barricade themselves in the bedroom, and
yeah, that's not happening.
No,
Andrew's
coming
too big
through the door.
And strong. Yeah, breaks through the door.
Yep.
And then Marty makes her way out the window up to the top of the roof, which is
Jeff doesn't quite make it.
No, he tries, but
yeah, he does a full throw. He throws that guy like a.
I think there was a couple twists and maybe a couple somersaults until he hit the. I don't know, man. It looked pretty good.
Yeah.
So we know at this point we know she's the last person standing.
Yep, she is.
She makes it to the top of the roof.
Yep.
And then starts climbing down. Starts climbing down with the one kind of wooden that one ladder.
Oh,
that
yeah,
they
the
had.
wooden
Yeah,
ladder.
that they had used a couple of times. And then she gets grabbed. I think it was out the window or something like
Yeah.
that. And then there's a struggle, and I think she ends up jumping off and hits starts making her way to. I'm gonna assume. I think it was the front of the. Was it Donovan? Was it the front of the? It was the gate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, where everyone seems to
Yeah.
head to.
And then she sees the front door bust open, and it's Andrew.
Yeah, I fucking love that scene.
Yeah.
I really like that.
I do too.
Yeah, kind of reminded me of a little bit of Hatchet. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, so this would have been well before Hatchet, but that menacing kind of
Hulking monster.
yeah, that shit's
He just
scary.
burst open that door.
That's just fucking scary, man.
And she runs to the car that Seth came in.
Yeah, but
then she-
hold on a second. But at this point, the gate's still locked.
That's right.
Gates. She doesn't know around the corner is a big hole in the fence. Gate's still locked. So she's doing she's being chased and ends up in that maze again.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
then sees Peter, and the keys are dangling out of his hand. And so she goes to grab it. Of course, she can't seem to get it out, pry it out, quick enough. So finally gets the keys, heads to the gate to open it up. Right, Donovan?
Yeah, and she does it after a couple tries.
Yeah, it gets,
Never happens the first try. It's a horror movie. It's a slasher.
Yeah.
It's I think it's written in a book somewhere where if you're trying to open something with a lock in a slasher movie,
yeah.
you don't do it on the first try.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then she does get it through, and she opens up the gates, and then she tries to start the car, and the car is not working.
Of course.
She's a mechanic.
She's a mechanic. We have that exposition in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
she fixes. I guess there's like a part where in the car where it's like flooding, right?
Probably.
And then you can just go in the engine, I guess, and start it.
I think what she was doing is she was messing with the ignition.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't know cars.
Yeah, what she was
yeah.
doing is she took the wiring from the ignition because they weren't firing, and she was trying to ground the wires.
Isn't it funny though? In every fucking movie,
Yeah.
the car never starts.
No.
Never starts. I mean,
This makes me so mad too. You would have gotten like a couple hundred feet in the time it took you to start the car, figure out there's something wrong with the car, open up the hood of the car, fix the car, go back in the car. You could have been like a football field away from the house. Do you
Yeah.
just not want to run from this thing?
Well, she has those boots.
the boots.
Yeah, Andrew, he's been running around for the last 12 years barefoot. Yeah, I think he
Right? Oh, fuck. It develops a ton of calories. He don't care.
Yeah,
I'm good.
He's like a hobbit.
He's like a fucking hobbit. Yeah, yeah. So she gets the, what is
Yeah, the car is actually the killing tool. She gets the car, she starts driving away.
Yeah,
I'm assuming it's Andrew, right? Andrew,
Yeah.
Starts hacking away with his fists.
And I know he's
at
there.
the
And it's
windshield.
still
Oh,
scared.
yeah.
It still fucking scared me.
yeah. When he pops down from the hood
Yeah,
or the
still
glass,
got me.
Yeah,
Still got me.
and he's hanging onto the car. He's on top of the car, and she's just whipping the car in like circles, just trying to get him off.
Doesn't she? She backs into the gate, right, Donna? Does
Well,
she back?
it's funny that you say that scared you, and I was
Yeah.
just thinking about this. The only thing that scared me in this movie was when Denise opens up the drawer by the mirror and the snake gag pops out.
The gadgets.
Oh,
Yeah, that's the only part that got me.
Really? That's funny.
Yeah, but yeah, okay. Yeah, she's doing donuts. She's trying to get this guy off. To be fair, she's panicking.
Oh,
all right.
absolutely, man.
And she like makes her way into the gate, but the gate was already fucked up. It was
Yeah.
like
Well, she ends up.
tilted.
Well, she hit the
backs,
gate
Yeah, she
to make
backs
it-
up. Yeah,
yeah.
She backs up into the gate because she's and hits the gate, and the gate kind of
Tilts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where
which
the
is
spikes are
which
like-
is convenient.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then she drives the guy into the spikes, and she kills him. And then happy ending. Psych. What she does is she takes a breather that's probably a couple hours on the horn of the car.
Yeah, it passes out, I guess,
and no one hears this,
and no one hears this, and yeah,
and no one comes anywhere near the gate, like in the many hours that
In
it's
the many
been.
hours, yeah, this had to be. A
Then
couple
it's like
hours.
sunrise.
Yeah, and then Marty comes out. She has her hero moment as she's walking towards the camera, and the sun is behind her.
Yeah.
Totally undeserved.
Did
man.
you-
You did
did-
like one
yeah.
kill. You ran away, didn't die.
I know
and
they
then
should have had a Carrie moment at the end. I call it the Carrie
Oh, the
moment
Carrie.
because it's like, Carrie does it, and Friday the 13th did it popping
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
They should have had like where he grabbed her arm or something.
Dude, I thought that was happening. Even though
Yeah.
I've seen this movie a million times, I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, come on, grab her, and it doesn't happen.
No,
And that
credits
was
roll.
it was kind of a letdown for me. Like,
Yeah.
fucking grab her. He ain't going anywhere. He's impaled. He's not going anywhere in this thing. But did you notice? I noticed this for the first time last night rewatching this. Did you see the mansion in the background when it was daylight? It was daylight.
Yeah.
The fence was there. Andrew was impaled on the.
Right.
Did you see the house?
No.
Did you see any grass? I didn't see any of that.
You know why?
Yeah, I know. I do know why.
Yeah.
But I mean, they could have done that a little better.
In post or something.
Something.
Yeah.
Something. But there was,
Yeah.
there was nothing. I'm like
So
looking.
the story is that it's a mile away from the gate.
Yeah, and
then
yeah.
actually that gate was made for the production.
Yeah, I did read
But
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
from the real gate, that's usually it's a mile away from the front of the house.
So yeah, I mean, we got the ending. We know Marty. Survived. She survived Hell Night.
Pray for day.
Pray for day. So look, I mean, Donovan, I don't have to ask you if you would recommend this to our listeners.
No, this movie's bad. Don't watch it. I'm sorry, guys. There are better uses for your time than this.
Now, there's honestly this movie is atmospheric and music's good. Story's simple, but it's effective, and it is a product of its time. But if you're a slasher fan, it's a must see.
Must see. Yeah. So, well, that's going to do it for today's episode. Next week, we are going to be discussing 1979's Phantasm with guest Darren Lindsay. Well, hey, Morris, we wanted to thank you for joining us.
Yeah, definitely, guys. Thanks, Donovan. Thanks, Rick, for inviting me here, and hopefully we could chat again sometime.
Oh, we will. I think we're hoping to have you back for the Valentine's Day episode, which will be My Bloody Valentine.
That sounds great. All right.
Awesome, man. Hey,
Take
thanks
care.
again. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow us at both Twitter and Instagram at Ear for Fear. You can also check out our website, earforfear.com. There you can purchase merch and stay up to date on current episodes as well as news and events. We hope you come back and get an earful. See you soon.